Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, just a second here. I decided to try something right at the beginning, and now I've got some noise going on in the background, and so I need to get all that cleared out. Oh my goodness. Oh, hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, you know there's just 341 days until Christmas 2022. Oh, and we're back here to talk about some top. We want to say hey to our friend Star Wars Meg in the chat. Oh, I was gone. I'm back. Maybe. Some weird things are going on. That's why I opened another another app. Oh my goodness. So I'm having some computer. It seems like Melon and I are not getting along well today. So I'm back. I'm back. You guys, Star Wars Meg has been really sick. I put at the top of the chat, I put a Meg emoji and a heart emoji. You guys let Meg know that we know that she's not well and that she's trying to get better. So sound issues, video issues, there's liable to be all kinds of issues today. So we're going to try to push forward. and I've got my friend Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. Hey, Jason, how are you today?
Hey. Good. So we have to do that one move for Meg, from Clone Wars, when they interrogate Cad Bane. It'd be like, "You will get better. You will get better." Like in her mind, and she's like,
"Yeah." Exactly. That's really good. Thank you, Jason. So there's a couple other news things to talk about before we get to the episode 4. And the first is, and I saw this on Star Wars Newsnet this morning. I was watching their recent episode, and they said that Mando 3 is still filming. It is filming again, I should say. Like they went on pause, but they are filming again. And the word on the street is that it's still on schedule, that the delay didn't push it back. Are you hearing anything? You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that whole thing was a little bit catty in my opinion. The whole way it went down was I just don't think very cool, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Bespin Bulletin came out with an accurate report that they did not come back at full steam. They came back, and like I covered it. I'm like, yeah, I hear they're coming. It's muted, is what my sources said. That just means that they weren't going back and trying to get everybody sick. They were bringing everybody, and like we had a featured extra on the show yesterday, on my show yesterday, and in that we really went into exactly how rigorous the COVID testing is, and with this particular issue right here, they were getting everybody tested again. So Bespin Bulletin's thing was completely accurate. And then Newsnet goes out and does this piece that's just like, everybody, look at us. We know we got the scoop. And it's like, you don't, because he didn't say that they weren't, he didn't say it was halted. He didn't say it was behind schedule. That wasn't the story. That's what they made it into. And I know for a fact exactly what Bespin was doing because I talked to him. Like
right.
we talked, and like whenever I can, I back up his stuff, and he backs up my stuff. It's like we've had that relationship for like 5 years now, and so then this report comes out, and it doesn't even reference that any of the stuff saying that like, oh, none of that's accurate, none of that's true, and then. Yeah, the thing about Mandalorian filming and that kind of stuff is there are so many little tiny breaks throughout. It's not a rigorous schedule. Jon Favreau, that dude, like he has his life and the corporation in check. Like he knows how to have a family and have Star Wars and not. That's why you're never going to see. Whenever you hear a rumor that Favreau's making the next Star Wars movie and he's going over to England and Pinewood, you know it's not true. It's completely not. He has it, and like so. But what does it mean in the end? We will never know. We will never know exactly what it means. Doesn't get to get reshot or something like that. But it's broken up. There's all this time. It's not as rigorous as most people think. And most of the visual effects are already done. And that's the real like burden. Like at the end of the day, now they might do an extra long day. They might do a couple of long days, and we'll never know about it, and it won't matter to us. The crew who was striking, the industry who was striking over this, that's exactly what the striking stuff is about. So yeah, nothing changed there, and it's going to continue to be just like that.
Well, and to be fair, I think Newsnet were also addressing a lot of the other stories that were spinning out of Bestman's original story that said, it's halted again. Mando 3 is at risk. Mando 3 is not going to happen. You know how the internet is, and everybody wants to run with the sky is falling, right? There's a Chicken Little syndrome out there, and every time anything happens, you get a little drizzle, the sky is falling. And it just seems to be the case. And they kind of addressed it like, and then today they did say that, look, it's still on schedule. And by the way, for all of you, if you didn't catch the show yesterday on Making Star Wars YouTube channel, that was a really good show, and you kind of get some insight what it is to be an extra, for folks to participate in filming of a show like this. So I loved it, and I'm like, I don't have braids. Do I have a future? Can I be an extra? I don't have braids. I'm just the average fat white guy. I don't know. I do have the beard going for me, but other than that,
we could braid that beard and get you some featured extra work on Mandalorian season 4.
There you go. And there's plenty of examples in Star Wars of white dudes with white beards. You see them every now and then. So hey. I'm up for it.
Maybe a Captain Rex stand-in.
Maybe that's a good point. Or I could be some senator from some planet.
North Polis Massa.
Exactly. Brian with the beard, the dude who spells his name just like I do, and he also has a beard. We're kindred spirits. Good to see you here, Brian, with the beard.
It's your clone. Your clone.
It is. We can do stand-in work for each other. So there you go. It's good to see you all here. Thank you. I see you all in the chat, Jedi Mike, RF Gaming Channel. You guys, it's great to see you all here. I am having some issues with the stream here, but let me see if I can get caught up. I just saw Quentin donated a super chat. No, nothing average about me. Well, thank you so much for that, Quentin. That's kind of you to say. That's very nice. So I think it's good news that all of the Chicken Littles out there can calm down.
Yeah, we shouldn't. I mean, I just feel like if you're an outlet, don't acknowledge dummies. Don't acknowledge other outlets that are fear mongering, that have no integrity or credibility, at the expense of the actual person or report who's bringing the news and even causing the news cycle, which in this case was Bespin Bulletin. Because when you look at Reddit, they just tore him apart, and it's like, the guy brings you the news, like biting the hand that feeds you. It's like literally, to me, the epitome of it. Yeah. And it's not like Bespin Bulletin. It is one of those fear mongers, or one of those like guys who you're like, guess what? Made up Star Wars shows coming this week. That's not happening. He doesn't do that. So that's just where it gets on my nerves a little
Civil
bit.
War at Lucasfilm.
Yeah, Captain Kennedy with red eyes. He's not doing that.
Mando 3 is halted production. Like, calm yourselves, right? I think you said something very, very pertinent there that I think a lot of people should maybe heed more often, is not to give life to things that that are overhyped. And there's too much of that in our world, and there's too many people running with that kind of thing. And we can have an impact by just not running with the overhyped stories. And I like to call them out from time to time. And we do that on our Discord as well. We have the coal mine where if something's not true, we point it out in the coal mine. And
I don't want to end up in the coal mine, Santa. I want to do a good job.
We have yet to put Star Wars, makingstarwars.net or Bespin Bulletin or Star Wars Newsnet in the coal mine. However, there are plenty of others that have made their way in there from time to time. So,
right.
So it's really good. So the next part is something that kind of let me just hide that made its way into the conversation this week, and it had to do with J.J. Abrams wanting to destroy Coruscant.
Do it, man. Destroy. Pieces of Star Wars, right?
Exactly. Until Quentin, am I in the coal mine? No, Quentin, you're not in the coal mine. You can suspect who makes their way into the coal mine on a regular basis. It's those that you think would be there are usually there. No, this story here, JJ wanted to destroy Coruscant in The Force Awakens till Lucasfilm intervened. Yeah. A lot of people have been running with this. Meg even discussed it on her stream today. Where
that sellout. No, I'm kidding. I love you, man. I'm just kidding.
I know. I know. But it comes in because they replaced Coruscant, right? They're like, no, we're not okay with you destroying Coruscant. We have plans for Coruscant. We need to come up with something else for you. And they came up with Hosnian Prime. Hosnian Prime was the capital of the New Republic, right?
Yeah. And it was for like 10 seconds, I think, in a book.
For a hot second. Well, it was in The Force Awakens, right? Before they blew it up. And now
remember when they announced the girl who looks up and they're like, oh, we cast this new person of color. It's a big deal, you guys. And she goes,
and boom, you're gone. That's the end. Well, Hosnian Prime. I have been reading the High Republic novels. I've been reading those novels, and it does show up in this Wave 3 of Phase 1 of the High Republic. There are several characters that have been from there. They go there. Hosnian Prime is kind of getting a backstory from the sequels. And what I see happening in all of this across Lucasfilm as a whole, and this will transition us to talk about the Mandalorian Chapter 4, and not the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 4, is some tying all pieces together. So far in the Book of Boba Fett, we've seen a lot of prequel era Easter eggs. So for better or for worse, there's a lot of prequel era stuff kind of cropping into the Book of Boba Fett. Well, right. We've also seen some tie-in to the sequel trilogy era, or into the Mandoverse era, or into, say, the High Republic or whatever. So we keep seeing cross references, and here we get from the High Republic era to the sequel trilogy era, Hosnian Prime. And it's clear to me that they're just building that backstory, trying to make everything a little more interconnected, which I don't think is a bad thing.
No, that's kind of the thing about this story, is that I think over time it may all be for the best, like over time. But when you look at it right now in 2022, probably 7 years after all of the stuff started going down with it, what has it mattered? You could have blown up Coruscant because you never gave it back to us. It never came back into the thing. It's completely irrelevant because you didn't do anything with it. And
so far.
so far, exactly. And that's the thing is it's like, on one hand, I'm like, oh yeah. On the other hand, I'm like, it doesn't actually matter because it's been so on. Like, I think it should. That was the one thing about that I liked where Colin Trevorrow's mind was for 9, was that by taking us back there with 1 and 9 being like the big heavy Coruscant centric kind of things, it kind of put a nice, bookended it in a weird way. And then what we ended up getting was just it never being touched again. And I obviously probably has to do with the fact that Abrams doesn't like it. You know what I mean? And wants to blow it up.
Well, that's what makes it. That it was pretty well known. Abrams didn't like the prequels, and to destroy Coruscant was not all that. He doesn't have that connection to, but what I keep seeing are complaints about Lucasfilm not having plans, and that they're making stuff up by the seat of their pants, and things are just going, here and there, based on the latest winds blowing. And for me, this is at least some indication that, no, we don't want you to blow that up. We want to use it in other things, and it's not going to work for our other storytelling if we would do that. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm making up stuff. But that's how I read it when they told him, no, we're not okay with that, right? That's the story. If you actually, here's another concept. When you see headlines, try reading the story. Just a tip, read the story.
Look how mad he looks in the picture now. Like, oh, I want to get core. I hate buildings.
Right.
I hate big tall buildings. Ugh.
I just like that there's a lot of headline reading that goes on, and then a bunch of stuff gets created based off of some clickbait headline, and nobody actually goes and reads the story. If you read the story, you can see, look, Lucasfilm intervened. Why did Lucasfilm intervene? Have you read the story? Do you know? Like,
I mean, in the actual, I mean, just looking at it from as a caretaker of the IP, to use that word.
Right.
It's like, if you destroy Coruscant, then what do you end up doing? You end up having to make a new Coruscant down the road, and then people are like, oh, this is just Coruscant, whatever, light or whatever. And so why do it? Now it being like devastated and really attacked and stuff like that, and like parts of it being like destroyed, that would have been fine, I think. I think George Lucas was kind of like even open to that idea when he was making his films, They just kind of didn't really take it there exactly.
Right. And Brian with the beard's not wrong. And I think that JJ would have definitely had more weight to it if Coruscant was blown up. There is a lot of lore tied to Coruscant. The old Sith temple, the Jedi temple built on top of it. Everything that's happened there on Coruscant. There's a ton of importance to Coruscant in the Star Wars universe these days. But if it's indeed true that Lucasfilm said, no, we're not okay with you blowing that up, we've got other things we want to do with it in the era or post-era, then that is indicative that there is at least some plan. And people love to throw this out all the time, that there's no plan at Lucasfilm. They're just making stuff up. Well, most of that happens because we don't have insight. And I'll go back to my complaint with Lucasfilm is I don't know what's going over there because they're not telling anybody.
Well, like one of the things that I think the closest kind of thing that we could hold up to it that I know about for behind the scenes kind of jazz is Alderaan. Alderaan is a world that's you would think would be right just to be reused. It was going to be used in that ragtag game, and they ended up like making it into like a little motif of, oh, here's a weapon that the Empire ends up using from the gas vapor of the destruction of Alderaan. As time went on, they didn't like the idea of Alderaan because they couldn't actually do anything with it. They couldn't take that anywhere. There was nowhere to go with it after that. And Alderaan's a world that was blown up. Now they don't want to do anything with it because it has as an end date.
Right.
After this point, you can't do anything else with it necessarily. And so it's a huge environment and a unique environment to destroy. But I am with people that's like, when Hosnian and Prime blows up, we don't care. If Coruscant had been blown up, would people have been more angry about Coruscant being blown up than the emotional impact it would have given in the big picture?
Well, good point. We have seen some evidence that might have indeed been the case.
Yeah.
Among the fandom, those who have read this story and reacted to it, it has not all been positive. Hey, Vader's Lair. Well, we've got Sheev the Wise visiting. Good to see you. And Mike Porter, he's got to stop by the hospital. His dad's getting a checkup, so can't stick by. But hope the checkup goes well there, Mike. And you guys, again, please remember that our good friend Star Wars Meg, she is definitely under the weather. She's feeling terrible. And if you guys could keep her in your thoughts and prayers, we would certainly appreciate it.
You will get better.
You will get better. Brian with the beard. Padme should have been from Alderaan, not Naboo. Would have built the impact for its destruction. Well, that's a good point, Brian, because I've got two opinions on that. That would be a good way to do it. The other way is we should have had Naboo where Leia was sent back to when she was when she died. It would have been a really neat kind of ending. Ooh, big noise.
Sorry.
To have something go on at Naboo in the sequels, but really we got nothing. So.
I don't know if this has any weight whatsoever, but one of the earliest rumors that was going around back during the prequel era was that it was laid out this way because Padme was supposed to enter into a marriage with Bella Organa. That was the big rumor back then. I'm not saying it's actually true, but that was the rumor that was Lucas's concept.
Oh, I see.
And then she ends up falling in love with Anakin and getting married to him in secret, and then Belle still loving Padme. It's sort of like a Snape who takes care of Harry Potter after Harry Potter's parents are killed, kind of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's good fun. I want to get to the Book of Boba Fett, episode 4. We do have some. Hey, Erland, love from Norway. Oh, good
Alderaan.
to see you. We've got some great support here from Europe. A lot of our friends are over in Western Europe. So we've got the UK is well represented. We've got Scotland, Ireland, England, and Norway. How about that? Oh, thank you. Home of the reindeer.
The lands.
Norway it is where a lot of Santa Claus lore comes from that we have in the U.S. A lot of what we celebrate today with Santa Claus and Christmas is adapted from Norwegian traditions. And certainly Santa wearing a heavy coat with fur on it, that kind of thing. And, of course, the caribou, otherwise known as reindeer.
Great Pixies song, by the way, if you guys are looking for any old indie music. The Pixies, Caribou. Great song.
Hey, Meg has made it. Meg, I hope you're getting plenty of rest and that you're starting to feel better. You guys let Meg know that we're thinking of her. Appreciate that. Yes, you will get better. You will get better. We will we'll speak it into existence if that's what you're into. Book of Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett. Episode 3, spill the tea. Well, there is some tea, but so far we've been doing a pretty good job of keeping it contained. And I'm aware of some of the tea. I've heard. I've sampled the tea. I'm aware of it, but I don't want to ruin anything for anyone. And I am not known.
Boba dies. Boba dies.
I'm all for Cad Bane killing Boba Fett. and then Din Djarin gets the Slave One. He renames it to the Fire Spray.
Thanks.
Exactly. Hey, I'm all for that because that helps me beat Sheev the Wise and our little bet. So I'm all for that. But look, I'm not a scooping channel. That's not what I'm into. I don't have connections. I've got friends who have connections. One of them being right over there. Good friends. But we just want to make sure that you get to experience the episode fresh without that risk. And should we step into that area, like we do want to keep folks informed of things going on. And so sometimes if you want to be completely just in the dark and you want to see the episode completely fresh, it's best to kind of stay in your cave, keep the internet off. But this episode 3, I liked better than I think a lot of people. The Vespas didn't trigger me at all. I kind of thought they were the chase scene. I think most people agree the chase scene was a little wonky. Santa, Jason, Mark, and I know it's in tomorrow's episode. That's the rumor, Meg. That's the that's the rumor. I will neither confirm nor deny knowledge of tomorrow's episode ahead of time.
Yeah. I mean, if you just look, you can look back to really ancient reports of mine and probably glean something out of it.
Yes. And so I want to kind of talk about, so first of all, I've seen your reaction to episode 3. The real quick TLDR for folks who haven't been following our channels. What's your take on episode 3, the Vespa chase?
Yeah, well, my hot take is I like the Vespas. I think they're pretty rad. I liked what it's pulling from, the idea of that gang, those guys being off-world and like the robot thing. But my actual critique is different than the fan base at large in the sense that I'm saying if you go that like nuts, you need to really lean into it. You can't go like, oh, we're doing this, but we can't cross a line. You've crossed the line in by conceptually even going there. So take it further. You know what I mean? Like the robotic implants and all that stuff, and it needs to be like a little bit more nuts. And there should have been a line saying that when she meets Boba, she should have said like, we've only been here for a day, old man, something like that. Like, so that way because people, the big critique is like these people are always there, and they're just not. I mean, I don't think I think it's very heavily implied. They're new to town. That's why it just became an issue that they're taking the water. Otherwise, it would have been an issue well before, and it's not. So, but I have to work for that. And they shouldn't make me work for that. It's their story. They should tell it. That's kind of my take. But anyways, second episode was so good. The third episode not being the best of the 3 makes it, by proximity, seem lesser than it really is.
I like the way you put that. Because for me, if I were to rank the 3, I would say episode 2, episode 1, episode 3. And when you put the top one and the bottom one, not to say the bottom one was bad. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Right? But if you put the top one and the bottom one right next to each other, it does make that relative position even greater. So
yeah, and it's like an audience is anticipating a continual ramp up and immersion and being pulled deeper in as the story goes on and then resolves. That's all they see. They don't necessarily see a simple 3-act structure or any kind of structure whatsoever. They just exist in it, and when it goes down like that, I think it's going to go way up just based off of the things I'm hearing about where it goes. I think people are gonna be like, oh, see, everybody was dumb about 3. You're all dumb, and I was smart. I always liked it, and you're dumb. Like, that's gonna be the general discourse, I think, next week or after tomorrow.
Well, I don't know about after tomorrow. I'm sort of like, And Erland here said, Boba said it's war. He'll be assembling his bounty hunter friends, maybe Dengar Bosk, IG, maybe Din. We do know, and Meg told us that episode 4 is going to be the dinner scene, right? Everybody at the table.
The dinner scene?
Oh, careful, careful. Episode 4. We know that there's that little dialogue. It says, why fight each other when we can make so much money and we work together. So we know
Star Wars news sites. That's true.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
Two peepers.
right. And so I think we're liable to get more talky than fighty. If you know. I think he'll be assembling the gang. Yeah. I think that there'll be some more flashbacks about how things connect, but this might not be the episode everyone is looking for, right? I think that may come when the war actually breaks out. And so I've heard a lot of people talking about the last 3 episodes, 5, 6, 7, are going to be the ones that change people's mind. And I'll lean that. I think I'll lean that direction because episode 4 could be more talky than people like. And there was that other article or interview that Tamura did, where he said Boba's talking too much.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think this episode's going to help that.
Yeah. No. He's literally hosting a dinner party. What's he going to do? Doesn't work. Everybody's like, why am I here? Why did you invite me here, Boba Fett?
Right. Oh, Daniel asked a good point. Are the parties at the table an allegory for the different parts of the Star Wars fandom? Is it meta? Do we have some meta references here? Oh, that'll be a good question. We'll have to watch it and maybe think about a meta aspect to it. That might be fun. And what would those factions represent? But you might trigger people by associating them with a group of folks that they don't want associated with. Oh, I'm not with the Thorians. I don't know.
Do you think after, let's assume that the dinner scene goes well, or even if it doesn't, I guess it doesn't really matter. Either way, Boba is going to have to put a crew together, like the Solo trailer promised us. That never happens. He's going to have to put a crew together because he's going to war. And do you think he's going to hire Black Chrysanthemum? Do you think that's what that was setting up? And do you think he's just still running around the desert?
He's still running.
Doing that?
Yeah, a la Forrest Gump. We'll just see him running. Still running.
That part is so bad that I like it. I honestly, it's horrible, but I wouldn't change it because it's makes me laugh.
I like it too. Hey, X-Wing made it in time for the show. Thank you, X-Wing. Good to see you. I don't think we've seen the last of Black Chrysanthemum. If that answers your question.
Me either.
Yeah.
I think they were setting up a situation where he's going to get hired by them. That's what I'm hoping, or what I think. That's not inside or anything, for the record. I'm not spoiling anything. That's just what I think is going to happen. But if it does go that way, I do question why they didn't just say you're free, and then he's like, "Oh, now I got a Wookiee life debt to you. I'm yours, baby." You know what I mean? Like in Wookiee, and then why didn't you just do that? But
I think that there will be a connection there. He will come back, and I agree with Meg. I don't think it's going to be so soon. I don't. Again, I think episode 4 might not be the episode everybody's waiting for. There are some big things coming for sure, but the war. I don't think the war will break out in full this episode. And speaking of which, do you think this episode is longer or shorter than the last episode? Greater than or less than?
I think it's going to be longer because I think that if they're going to, all the talk is just going to take up time. And then I think that they're still going to have to throw in the action little tentpole set pieces to make the episode feel like it did something. Or for it to do something kinetic anyways. And so I'm not saying I think it's going to be like an hour or anything like that, but I would imagine it's going to be on the higher end of the 40-minute range, maybe.
I'm with you. I'm in the higher end of the 40 minutes. It could break 50, but it might be 48. I'll say 48 to 53 in that range. That's what my thought is. So let's take a look at how predictions are going right now. With 43 responses into the predictions, and I pinned the link to the predictions in the chat here. It's on Discord. It's on Twitter. It's in YouTube, and it is in the chat here. It's in the description here. So if you guys, and I've seen Mark has been going out and posting it to all the other Discords. You guys, we have a lot of fun going through these responses. Just the trend from folks who are putting their predictions in, and this doesn't share what Jason's or Meg's or what we're not showing any of our predictions here specifically, but our predictions are all logged in this. I saw that even Sketchcraft has his predictions in, so we're all set there. Meg, I am confident I will win this week. Well, Meg went. She is on the Wall of Fame, and this is how you make it onto the Wall of Fame. If you're new to the channel, you go into the predictions, and if you beat Santa, you get as many or more correct in your predictions as Santa. Then you make the Wall of Fame, and you'll see your name in the chat below, or in that scroller below.
I see Sketchcraft down there, and I just have to complain here because we go and on the show and we're like, okay, I'm like, we're gonna do it together. Then we're Star Wars married, right? We got our show together, so we go and do it. And then like last week, he's like, oh, I've been doing it on my own this whole time. I mean, I've been making my choices with you based off of what you say, and compromising.
Exactly, a compromising, and then so I think he's pulling you down on purpose, Jason. He's getting you to change some votes so that he could go in and
Palpatine.
You see, he's on the list and you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's something wrong with that.
Order 66th.
I said, "Hey, Abby, she will make the." Abby is leading the pack. Abby's doing a great job in her predictions. So, and like Mark here, Mark's only goal is to beat Ducky. If Mark beats Ducky Momo, then he's a happy man. And Ducky's got a big target on his back. If you guys don't know, like even in our members only discussions we have monthly, Ducky is the target. Everybody's like, anytime Ducky wins, he wins one of the toy giveaways. He wins the predictions. Everybody's like, rigged. Ducky's rigging the system.
We need an animation of Meg as the dog in Duck Hunt who goes when you miss. Who just like pops up whenever Ducky makes it.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. We need to make that happen. Sheev must beat Santa and there's that way. Hold on. There's Sheev must beat Santa and Ducky. That's so good. Yeah, Mark, the Duck Hunt is on. Wait. Keep. I touched the wrong button. There we go. So most people at this point, 70% of the people are saying that Boba and Finnick are going to kill somebody this week. And I will say, well, hold on. There's another one down the line. I'll hold off. Okay. We see the Slave One, the fire spray gunship. 88% of the people, and now we've started to see it in whenever Boba goes into the Bacta treatment and his dream sequence starts. We always start on Kamino, right? And so it's in that sequence. So seeing the Slave One in there is not unusual. Plus, we know in the trailer we see him walk into the garage at where the Slave One is. So there's some point coming in where he's going to see that. And most people are saying, yeah, we're going to get that. Someone says Jabba. It's happening.
If they don't say it at this dinner table, then it's like, that's weird.
Exactly. That's weird. Exactly. Yeah, Man on the Moon. That was so rigged. See? People that whenever Ducky wins, it's you see in the chat people going after the duck. Dinner, lunch scene on Tatooine's criminal underworld. Now, 9% of the people haven't heard Meg say that this is the episode. This is when it's happening. Not only that, but Meg gave us additional evidence in one of those. What are they? Cut boards where they, snap, start, snap, stop, whatever.
Oh, the clapboards?
Yeah. Where you see, Tamora sitting at that table, and they're getting ready to clip it, and you can see the information about the episode on that clip. It's this episode. This is it.
One thing though, when I was talking, and this won't, when I was talking to sources, we were this week about some things. They kept going. It's either this one or the next one. I think it's this one. It's either this one or the next one about certain things, which makes me think that there could be some overlap in what's going on. That makes it confusing if you what you filmed a year ago now. Yeah. But so I think that there might be some revisiting of things. It might be almost. I'm not trying to imply it's a two-parter, but it seems like these next two really connect, and then we get on to the final three, and it's boom, boom, boom.
Yep. Yeah. And that goes right into this question 6. Boba gets revenge on the Nikto gang. Now, I think that goes back to the previous question.
They were framed. Sorry.
I think in his flashback scenes, we're going to see the result. We also saw in the trailer the Nikto gang riding their bikes through the desert, and I think Boba's going to be hunting them, and he's going to take them out. So I do think we're going to see what you mentioned about action. There'll be the action involved. I think the action is going to happen in the flashback, and it's going to be the Nikto gang revenge.
Yeah, he has the sniper out in that little preview.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also, look, there's been some speculation that maybe the Pikes put that tag on the tent to set up the Nikto gang. I don't think it's that deep. I think the Nikto gang went there, they killed the Tuskens, and now Boba's going to go get.
One thing that I don't know if I keep seeing this and people don't really seem to care when I see it. Even Rob, I'm like, but when you look at the bikes, it looks like they have the train conductor on the bikes, which tells me that the Nikto gang works for the Pikes. So that's what I think has been going on the whole time. Like there's like a droid, and maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just a different symbol. But when I look at it, I see the train conductor. So I think that they maybe work for the Pikes, but not at like the official high level where they're meeting with the bosses. Like the train hired them, so to speak. The train hired the local gang, which was those guys. And so I think that I think there might be connective tissue between the two things. And in the end, Boba's going to have to take on the Pikes to avenge his Tusken family.
I like where your head is on that, because you think about when Boba goes and talks to the Pikes initially and says, you owe the Tuskens for passage. And they're like, no, we're already paying the Niktos for passage. It's interesting that that's just a way for them to get him off of their scent. And really, they're paying them. Sure, they're paying them. They work for them.
And then at the very minute that they have that conversation, they're all being murdered. They know Boba's there. While Boba's walking out, they're probably calling the gang going, go get him right now.
and Karen and Jedi Mike, the elves are very quiet today. The elves are on their lunch break. So I told Jason right before the stream started, the elves are on lunch break. Yesterday, the electricians showed up here, and we had power off and on all day long as they were cutting things to change wiring. And so they might be back before our stream is over. You guys may get to hear the elves in the background doing their work. Dominic, I didn't want Coruscant destroyed. I didn't say I wanted Coruscant destroyed. It would have been more weighty. But my point is that I think during the High Republic and in other work, they're doing more to build up. What's the name of that planet? Hosnian Prime.
Hosnian Prime.
They're building up Hosnian Prime so that it is more weighty when we see it blown up. And that there are plans to use Coruscant later. So no, I don't. I don't think that's the case. I don't. I did not want them to destroy Coruscant, but I'm saying I think there was a plan to use it, and that's it. So, so I think Boba gets revenge on the Nikto gang, which ties into episode 7 or question 7. Boba gets beat in a fight. Now, there are a lot of people saying yes, but I think 6 and 7 are tied together. Boba's going to be killing some Niktos.
Yeah.
So
yeah, those guys they don't have much time left.
So question 1, Boba kills somebody. I say yes. Boba gets revenge on the Nikto gang. I say yes. And Boba gets beat in a fight. I say no. Because he's gonna be whooping on the Niktos. So that's.
I have a question for you. Like going forward after this week, does this form does the form that we're filling out, does it make a lot of big changes after this week as we get all of the stuff?
As things happen, I have to drop questions and add new.
Because I almost think that it almost like a bonus subset could be, does Boba kill somebody in present tense or past tense? Because that's always where I'm always like, in the past tense, he's always going to kill somebody. So that's why I always think he's gonna do it. Yeah. I like where
you're going with that, Jason. Next week, I will try to incorporate. Maybe the question would be, Boba kills more people in present time than in flashbacks.
Yeah, because as we get toward the end, a lot of people are going to be dying. I think that's where we're going to have to start. Once we get to the actual because the last one was the streets of San Francisco. Yeah. And then, but we're dealing with that aspect. It's going to go to the gang war pretty soon, right? We're going to the war, so it's going to be obvious.
Right. Kieran, we talked about this a little bit earlier. If you missed the discussion, catch it earlier in the show. Jason and I discussed it a bit. So Boba gets beat in a fight. I say no. Boba rides a Rancor. Look, we're almost 50-50 here. He mentioned wanting to ride the Rancor. At some point, I think we're going to get a montage scene of him learning to ride a Rancor. The question
That's why I said yes. That's why I said yes this week.
Because I said yes this week.
Yeah, because if he's going to do it in the big thing, you're going to have to show him learning, right? And making the relationship with the Rancor, naming it doesn't have a name. If they set up, what am I going to call you? And then they don't name it, what are you doing? At that point.
So here's a good fill-in-the-blank example for you. If for anybody who hasn't done your predictions and you're thinking about it, when you get to the last question, there's a fill-in-the-blank. Like you come up with something. A good fill-in-the-blank would be the Rancor gets a name. Like maybe you will, maybe you won't. Maybe you don't want to put that.
Don't try and name it, though. Just say it gets a name. If you say it gets named and its name is Jerry, you're going to be wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to do that. Not too specific, but you want to put something in there that could happen. Right? Or maybe you want to say the Rancor does not get a name in this episode. That's also a good guess. So there you have it. Meg quoting the meme. I saw that. I'm not going to click on it. So Boba rides a Rancor. I agree with you, Jason. I think we're going to see a montage this week. Will it be the Boba riding a Rancor through Mos Espa? I don't know about that. But will we see him riding a Rancor? I think so.
Well, yeah, because I feel like in terms of proximity, if you have Boba learn to ride the Rancor, name it, and then he just gets on it and does all of the stuff with it, it's that's very obvious. I feel like you want to set up that he can do it, make the audience forget by a week or so going by, then have him do it. Then you're like, oh, what? I forgot.
Right. So or that they think, oh, well, that already happened. And then they see this is for real. Like he's actually using that for an attack or something like that.
Yeah.
Bosk appears. Now, we do think that he's going to start building up his posse, right? He's going to start building up an army, because he and Finnick had that discussion about it's war then, right? And that's the dinner scene is essentially him telling the other leaders, we should work together here. We should throw out these pikes, or perhaps some of these others, right?
Yeah, because I mean, when you look at it, like the Pikes aren't from there, so everybody who's always been there, they can't be cool with it, so they're going to join up with them. But I also think that one of them should be like, no, and then he should be like, here, Rancor.
Oh,
because he loves that Rancor. That's his little pit bull.
It is. And Meg, you heard me. I was very clear. I didn't say what you're trying to imply. Meg. Kendall, good to see you, my friend. Ronnie, imagine at the end of the season, Boba wakes. I clicked on the wrong thing. That wasn't my fault. I blame Melon for that one. Imagine at the end of the season, Boba wakes up from a nap, goes to pick up everyone in the Imperial cruiser. The entire thing was a dream. It picks right up from the end of Bando season 2, where he dropped Finnick off. He's been sitting around doing nothing. This has all just been a daydream while he's floating around in the Slave One, waiting for them to finish their attack.
Well, there's been rumors and assumptions and predictions that Greef Karga will show up, right?
Yeah.
So well, why would he show up? Because Boba needs to hire a bunch of people, bunch of bounty hunters, and I think that's going to be the connective thing. That's a prediction.
There you go.
Yeah.
We see a flashback scene. We've got 100% of people. Like, yep. You've accepted. It's part of the DNA of the show. It's happening.
Yeah.
I think
I'm glad that we're all on the same page there. I'm really, really happy about that.
Me too.
It's not one petulant person like, no,
right.
Not
last
this
week.
time.
Last week we had one person say no. So finally, people have accepted. They've embraced. Yep, the flashbacks are happening. So now we have a series of cameos, and these have been here every week. I think I added one this week because of dropping questions from last week. But we've got several here that you can make your predictions. I'm just showing you the trend. So Din Djarin,
it's a red Pac-Man.
Exactly. We have different amounts. We've got a couple people thinking that. Two people. Yeah, a couple people thinking this is the Luke Skywalker one. These have all been, by the way, these are all rumors. We heard from before the season started. So these have been here. Din Djarin, we've got 6 saying yes. Luke's, we've got 2 saying yes. Grogu, I think these two go together, actually, Luke and Grogu, which is interesting, but that the different,
I bet you Luke's cameo is Boba and Fennec are in this on the Slave One, the fire spray, and they're like, oh no, it's Luke Skywalker and his X-Wing fighter. Let's get out of here. And then the Slave One goes away. That's it.
That's it. The Cobb Vanth cameo. It's coming. I feel like it. They've been leading up through his memories, what's going on through his back-to-baths. Will this be the week that we get the Cobb Vanth cameo? It could be, but for some reason, I'm leaning no this week. And just for the record, last week I voted yes. This week I feel like the pacing is off for what I was initially thinking, and so I'm pushing it. So that's just me. Dr. Aphra. Again, this was an early rumor. We do have a couple people thinking, yep, Dr. Aphra. I don't think Dr. Aphra is going to be in the show at all. But hey, that's me. Kira. There's been a lot of speculation about Kira showing up. And at one point, that was really, really high. A lot of people were going with her being part of the show. And I don't know. Cad Bane, I don't think yet. I think that if we see Cad Bane, and that was one of the very first rumors, Cad Bane, I think that'll be in Dave Filoni's episode 6. Yeah, and Reefer Man's right. I do think Dr. Aphra will be coming to live action. I think that's a no-brainer for Lucasfilm, Disney Plus. Like, why wouldn't she? That's an easy guess. So the Cad Bane, I think that'll be Filoni's. Han Solo cameo, that was big news a couple weeks ago. We have one person saying this is the episode. If it were, I would think flashback.
Yeah, I was talking to humans with voices. And I'm just saying, I'm not debunking anything, and I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes for their own reports or whatever. More than one of my people who usually know things did not see any evidence of Harrison Ford or anything like that around.
Yeah. My thought on that is that if you're going to continue the story, and we've got the next question coming up with Crimson Dawn. Mm-hmm. If you're going to continue the story with Crimson Dawn, you're going to have Kira, which I do think those are going to happen at some point. Why would you use Harrison Ford instead of Alden Ehrenreich? Like, if I put a Han Solo with Kira, I'm putting Alden with.
And I asked about that too, about Ford or Alden Ehrenreich, and my sources just may not know. May not have been included, or for whatever reason. But yeah, so I'm a little bit curious as to how this Han Solo thing is going to play out, if it even does.
Yep. Crimson Dawn is mentioned. Now, again, we're close to 50-50 here. I do think we're going to find out Crimson Dawn is a major player in the space. So I think that it's very possible we could hear it mentioned tonight. Maybe not yet. One or the other. That could be a big reveal later, episode 6 or episode 7. This might just be set up to go fight the Pikes, and we don't hear anything about Crimson Dawn yet.
I mean, think about it from just like a normal audience's perspective. If you start throwing in all these other gang names and stuff like that, it's just going to confuse them when all they need to know is that the people of Tatooine are rising up against the Pikes. Like, that's all that they really at the moment need to know. So I don't think it, even if it does go that way, I don't know what I even said on this question, but now I'm thinking about it. I don't think it would be wise organizationally for general audiences who don't even know what that is or care.
And that's typically where my head goes on these predictions. I think about storytelling to a general audience, not storytelling to some Star Wars nerds. There's going to be things that are going to appeal to us, but you also have to explain it to a general audience. You have to explain it to Mrs. Claus, who is barely watching it because I pretty much make her. So she's not invested in this show at all. Yeah. So you have to make it make sense, or she's just going to be completely disconnected. Like, okay,
come on, Mrs. Claus, be a Boba Fett, homie. No, I'm
kidding. right. So I could see it coming at the end. I don't know that it'll be tonight. It could be. It could be.
Sure,
but
it could.
But it absolutely could be. It will. And I saw Reefer Man Wayne. He said that he didn't think that that Kira's going to live to the Mandoverse era. So that could be the case. And there's been some speculation that she's not going to make it there. But we shall see. See.
One of the things I would like to see, like in terms of like house cleaning for Lucasfilm, is we have Han Solo pining for her, in love with her, waiting out for her. He meets her. It's very evident that she's moved on without him. He's still all about her, even though, and then she flies away at the end. it's a bit unresolved. But like where is his head in that? Like, is when she leaves at the end, is that where he's like, it's over? Does that, because we don't really know. And then so it plays kind of weird in terms of like, is it this unfinished business with an X? Is it still there? You know what I mean? Or just like let us know if you're not going to do anything with it. Put that in, make it a big story, and give us the resolution on that.
Yeah. So I'm going to hide this because I don't want to scroll any further down. You guessed something in the episode. This is where you get to say, oh, they're going to give the Rancor a name, or they're not going to give the Rancor a name. They're going to ride the Vespas. Boba Fett is going to trade in the Slave One for a brand new shiny Vespa. You could put that. Hey, it's your predictions. Whatever you put in there, you could get a bonus point if you get it correct. If you don't, then Santa gets to say no point for you, which happens quite a bit. So this is where you get a chance to get a bonus point. You come up with your own prediction. What might happen? Things that you are not allowed to predict are the freebies. Boba Fett takes his helmet off. You don't get to guess that because that's a freebie. Or Fennec talks to Boba. Yeah, you can't say that. Like those are things
I put Boba Fett has a New Zealand style accent. Will that count? Will I get a point for that?
No point for that. Day 1999. Welcome. First time being here. Good to see you. And did I watch Theory's latest stream with Josh from last night? I did. I watched that this morning, Dane. I typically catch those the morning after for the most part. They are talking about bringing in the Nerd Theory Council, which I'm a part of. And if that happens later in the season, I may try to get on that episode. But it's typically after Santa's bedtime. And that's not likely for me. So unless I get a heads up, like we're going to do it next week, then I'm typically already checked out. And then I get texts from like from all my friends saying, the elves are back from lunch.
They sound sluggishly full though.
They do. Patrick, the Rancor. Its name could be Patrick, and maybe Patrick is a vegan Rancor. You don't know. We don't know.
Django the second.
Exactly. So, look, if they, I get texts from my friends who say, "Hey, Nerd Theory, they're asking for you to join," and then I have to get up and get ready, get the computer on, and all that. So we should. Meg says the Rancor looks more like a Randy. If you want to name the Rancor, we could have the Name the Rancor game. But that's it. I just kind of wanted to go through what we might see tonight. I think a lot of people are hoping that this is going to be the episode that gets everybody excited. The war is going. I don't think that's the case tonight. I think that will be 5, 6, 7.
Maybe like maybe this one will end with like the declaration of war, so to speak. I don't know if they would do that. I mean, it seems like you're a little bit more sneaky when you're a criminal, but there may be that moment where they send the message and then they send the message back. Because like in terms of that kind of stuff, like how do you send a message? And I'm guessing like maybe you send like a bag of Nick Two Heads or something back to the Pikes, and you're like, there you go.
Or Boba says, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to ride this Rancor down the street, and I'm going to come and knock on your door on the back of a Rancor.
Yeah. That one Pike is like gets in bed, and he pulls back the covers, and he's like, there's like a severed tauntaun head in there, like in The Godfather. And he's like, ah! That'd be great. Let's do it. When a Godfather, go Godfather.
Right.
Rodriguez.
Go full Godfather on him. That's right. Rodriguez could do that. That would be awesome. Oh, that's great. That's great, Jason. So tonight, what are you doing tonight? You doing a live stream? You doing a post show wrap up? What?
Yeah, in a few minutes, me and Rob are going to get together and just talk a little bit about Boba's episode tonight and whatever little news, some Indiana Jones news, actually, a really big piece of Indiana Jones news, actually, and then we're going to make it a shorter show probably, and then come back tonight after probably about 1 a.m. tonight and talk about what happened right then. So yeah, if anybody is up after watching the episode and all amped up and you can't sleep, come and hang out with us in the chat.
Here we are again. Somebody asked, "Is this really Meg?" It happens. It happens every time. Every single time we get somebody new. And Dane, thank you for being here. And it's one of the things you learn as part of this community that Star Wars Meg and I are really, really good friends. Jason and Meg, we have a great community building here. And we've got a lot of folks here who are part of that community. And indeed, it is the real Meg. It is the real Star Wars Meg. And there are lots of jokes that come after that it's Meg is actually a droid. It's Meg's cat. You don't know.
I need Meg in the chat because she says the things that I'm kind of thinking, and then I don't make the joke on the show, and you don't get demonetized. It's great. It's just like one of those animals that people bring on airplanes so they're not nervous, but it keeps you from telling bad jokes.
Is it really? She really does. And Ronnie, Meg, why don't you cosplay as the real Star Wars Meg? There you go. That'd be great. And yes, we love Meg. And for everybody, I think Meg is one of the best YouTubers out there.
The best. I say the best.
And among Star Wars content creators, I agree. She is the best. Literally the best. I absolutely love her and adore her. You guys, Meg is sick, which is why she's not been her usual chirpy self in the
Wait, you mean
chat.
Like ill?
Like ill.
Well, sick, man. Yeah, I'm like, I agree, dude.
That's not wrong. That's not wrong either. That's absolutely not wrong. She's sick in many ways, pejoratively. That being the side, she is actually really ill, really, really sick. So, Meg, get well, get rest. You should, yeah. Jason, I thought said it meant sick the cool way. Yeah, well, you are. She is cool. She's more cool than me, but she brings up the cool factor in the room every time she joins. But she also makes the chat quite naughty.
Yeah, this is true. Which is good for you because then it's less toys. It's less toys. You got to deliver. It's a whole racket. That's why Meg's here. Honestly, he's like, well.
She's amazing. She's amazing, but you should be sleeping, Meg, getting rest. I know it's 6 p.m. in the UK, so it might still be a little bit early for you, but I hope you are getting doted over. I hope your girlfriend is treating you well. She's bringing you meals on a tray, plenty of fluids. You should be cared for and treated lovingly while you get. There you go. That's it. That's right. Everybody always asks if it's a real Meg. What about the real Santa? That's been a debate too. Meg brings it up from time to time. Wait a minute. I'm not sure this is the real Santa. I am an actual Santa Claus, but am I the real Santa? That's for you to determine.
It was fun this year. My daughter, she's like, "Is Santa real?" I'm all, "Why do I do a stream with them every Monday?" And she's like, "He's got a good point."
That is a good point. That is a good point. Yes, Ronnie. Wait, Meg has a girlfriend. I thought Meg and Nikki were dating. Well, I can't. Nikki and Meg do have a very special relationship, but there's a continent separating them and a great big body of water. So
is that Santa's way of saying Nikki's a side chick? No, I'm kidding.
Maybe Meg does have a side chick, and that could be Nikki. It could be.
No disrespect to Meg's lady. I don't mean to do that.
No, Meg liked it. Nikki, the side chick. She likes that. If Nikki shows up, she should rename herself in YouTube. It should be Nikki, the side chick.
And we need to make a grill as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, you and Sketchcraft Rob, the cheater.
Yeah. He cheated on our Star Wars marriage by going outside of the Star Wars marriage and doing the thing. So
we have proof.
I'm gonna have to get myself my own side chick to help me fill out my form next week.
We know he's cheating. You should get Max to do to help you next week because he's been cheating, and we have proof that he's Sketchcraft. He's been cheating
and winning
because his name is down there and yours is not. So that's just not right. That's really good, Dane. Dane too also has an imaginary girlfriend.
Yeah, I have a girlfriend. She's really hot. She lives in Canada.
I'm not judging at all. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. We do have a Mike Porter dad joke of the day.
Yeah. By the way, Mike Porter, he does this like solo stand up on Twitter. You got to listen to it. It is so cringe. It's perfect. I wouldn't change a thing about it.
I love it. It's so good. And for those that don't know, Mike Porter is actually older than Santa Claus. It's a true story. Here you go. Mike Porter dad joke of the day. What's it called when you get hit in the head with a couple of jellies?
What Mike Porter dad joke?
Jar Jar Blinks.
So dumb.
I love it. Does Jason Ward have a channel? He does. It's called Making Star Wars. MakingStarWars.net. There's a link to Jason's YouTube channel in the description of this here. And Jason Ward has been doing this Star Wars game for quite a while. He far predates Santa. Jason Ward was
I just
want to
get out. I just want to learn how to play the Valor chord.
Jason Ward is one of these YouTubers. I was like, wow, that's a real YouTuber, and who I had much respect for before ever getting to meet him individually. And now I have no respect for him at all.
No.
I kid.
He's seen behind the curtain. He's seen behind the curtain.
I kid.
I told him I wouldn't do the show unless I got flashing lights behind me. I mean, I'm hard to work with. I was like, I want to like this. Our compromise was this.
It's so good. Yes, MakingStarWars.net is also a website where you can get Star Wars news and information there as well. Who are we disrespecting? We're disrespecting Jason. That's who. Mm-hmm. That's who we're disrespecting. And until the top of the hour when we start disrespecting Rob.
Because he's got it coming.
He's a cheater.
Yeah. I mean, 45 minutes.
I can't wait to see Jason take Rob to the woodshed.
I bet he won't even show his face on screen today. That's my guess. Ashamed. Shame.
He should be shamed. Oh, that's very good. All right. Well, Jason, thank you again. Thank you so much. You all, I really appreciate you all being here. We've had another fun live stream today. Appreciate all the support that we get here. And it certainly helps my mood, helps my day to spend it with all of you. So, Jason, any parting thoughts?
Just I can't wait to see what everybody thinks tomorrow. I hope everybody's happy is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping the episode satisfies and everybody's like, yeah, Boba Fett, I'm jazzed.
Excellent. Me too. Yeah. So you guys, will see you all on Jason's live stream later. And until next time, my friends, Merry Christmas, and may the Force be with you always. Bye-bye.